time on the Gadget Show. The stakes are higher than ever. It's us lot against the pros.
I'm keeping up with the boy here.
Yeah, each of us faces our own personal challenge in which we have to try and use tech to take on and beat the professionals. Let's go, baby, come on!
Can I use tech to beat Britain's best female climber? This is one of the toughest things I've ever done in my life.
Can I use gadgetry to drive faster than F1 racing star Johnny Herbert?
Can tech help Otis defeat a super fit champion cyclist?
I can barely stand out of my seat now.
And can John use the latest in consumer camera technology to take a better photo than a celebrated professional photographer?
It's really quite spectacular. Shall we try some more?
4 presenters, 4 challenges, and 4 great big golden opportunities for us to get a huge load of egg all over our faces. You do not want to miss this. Welcome to the Gadget Show.
Now, you might have noticed during the menu bit, before Susie says hello and welcome to the Gadget Show, that we're trying to do something a bit different with today's show.
That's right. This week, we've got 4 challenges, 1 each.
They'll each be challenged to take on the professionals and beat them at their own game, using gadgets to give us the advantage.
I don't know if you guys agree, but I think today's show is an opportunity for us to really show our mettle, you know? To show what we're worth, to say no to those people who look at us and they just see 4 techie freaks sat on the sofa, which, you know, is understandable. But to say we're capable of standing up there with the best, yeah? That we've got what it takes to succeed. That we're bad. Yes, bad. You know it. Huh? Mama say, mama say, mama say.
I think you might be going
Billie
slightly
Jean is not my lover,
over the
all right?
top.
No, I feel quite motivated by that. I'm getting quite enthusiastic. Go, Gadget!
Thanks. Thanks, John.
OK, so first up, to try and uphold the reputation of the Gadget Show team and face their challenge, is the UK's First Lady of Tech, Susie Perry.
I knew this was going to be a tough gig when I was called to the Edinburgh Indoor Climbing Arena, the largest climbing arena in the world. Oh, no. Bearing in mind that I had never climbed before in my life, I was somewhat unsettled.
Susie!
Oh! This will be the challenge, then. Your challenge is to take on British lead climbing champion Natalie Berry in a daredevil climbing race. Use any technology you like to get you to the top first. Best of 3 wins. You Natalie, by any chance?
Yep.
Me and the tech versus the British champion. You've got to be kidding me. Since the first climbing wall was built in 1964, indoor climbing has exploded. There are now more than 300 walls in the UK, used by 5 million people every year. As you're relying on your skills and those of your climbing partner to keep you safe, it's one of the most exciting ways to get fit. Since champion climber Natalie has been honing her Spider-Woman skills since the age of 7, I was going to need all the help I could get. All right, you ready?
Yep.
OK.
Bring it on.
For my first attempt, I decided to use a heavy-duty piece of professional climbing kit. Called the Power Quick, it's what's known as a powered rope ascender. The rope feeds inside where a battery-operated motor drives a capstan to wind the rope through these rollers. The Power Quick was originally designed for the US military to get personnel into high places safely and quickly without them having to use their manpower. Now it's used for anything from construction and rescue missions to hopefully getting to the top of that wall before Natalie does. With 19 metres of wall towering above us, it was machine versus muscle. But I was feeling confident.
3, 2, 1, go!
Just a squeeze of the trigger kicked the 36-volt motor into action, and I was off. All I'm doing is walking. The machine's doing all the work for me. Come on, tech! It was certainly effortless, but would it be fast enough? Halfway up the wall, and unbelievably, Natalie was right on my tail. But the Power Quick, able to hoist more than 270 kilograms for 2-man rescues, was lifting my body weight with ease. Here we go. Last 2 seconds. Natalie was putting everything she had into flying up the rock face and was closing the gap fast. This was going to be a close thing. Yes!
Oh, no. Can't believe it. She's beaten me.
So it was victory on my first attempt. However, Natalie struck me as a girl who would rise to a challenge, and with 2 heats left, she wouldn't be giving me an easy time. For my next attempt, I'd be using the rather ingenious Freedom Climber, a bit of unpowered technology aimed at making indoor climbing less space-consuming. Right, Natalie, look at this. It's essentially a rotating wall. So I just have to move my feet and the wall moves for me. No need for any ropes or harnesses. What do you reckon?
Well, if it keeps moving, you won't be able to stop and have a rest.
No, but I'm still willing to give it a go. Are you ready?
Yep, I'm up for it.
OK, let's go. This time, Natalie had to climb a massive 25-metre wall, and as each rotation of the Freedom Climber is equal to 5 metres, I'd have to get round it 5 times to beat her. Sound easy? Think again.
3, 2, 1, go!
This is physically demanding. Imagine if you did this every day, you'd be so fit. A bit like Natalie up there. Having to traverse across the wheel instead of going vertically meant I was really using my core strength.
Susie's got the disadvantage of getting dizzy going round and round in circles, so hopefully that'll work in my favour.
I fear my mouth may have been bigger than my trousers. You can vary the resistance of the Freedom Climber to make it harder, but with 3 revolutions still to go, I had enough of a job on my hands already. I just had to keep plugging away, but as I came to my 4th revolution, Natalie was reaching for the final hold.
Oh, got it!
Despite my best efforts on the climbing wheel, Natalie had managed to level the score to 1 apiece. There was only 1 attempt left. Now there was nothing for it but to do things the old-fashioned way and climb as fast as I could. So I decided to use the very best climbing gear available to give me a fighting chance. My first bit of gear was an Asics inner muscle top. Now, as you can probably see with this top, there's some special panelling here that's supposed to improve your posture and help your core stability, and it claims to get 5% more oxygen into your lungs. So that's going to be a help. I can't turn around because it's see-through, so I'm putting another top on. Next, my climbing shoes, La Sportiva Speedsters.
Have a look at these. Extra sticky soles to help give me some grip as I'm climbing up.
The rubber compound on the sole is only 3mm thick to let you feel the wall and claims to give 30% more friction than its competitors. Check this, my Arc'teryx harness. It's so light, 244 grams, just like a big packet of crisps or something. It hardly feels like it's there at all, so the less weight I can take up, the better. Unlike traditional harnesses, the Arc'teryx spreads your weight over the whole structure and not just a thin band of mesh, so it can cut down on bulky padding. You know, I'm loving all my tech. I'm pretty pleased with it. And I think I'm going to need it. I'd be facing a daunting vertical climb, but to even things up, champion Natalie would have to take on an even more scary route, including a back-breaking overhang. She would be lead climbing, clipping herself on as she went, whereas I would be attached to a safety rope at the top of the wall.
3, 2, 1, go!
I've just been told to just keep powering up, have confidence, and trust my feet. These shoes are so grippy. I'm getting great foothold. I can really push up. A third of the way up, and incredibly, we were neck and neck. I'd almost forgotten I'd got the harness on. It's so light, really comfortable as well. We were still level, but it was about to get a lot harder. There seems to be less foothold suddenly. Natalie reached the overhang and had to cling on upside down, a technique that demanded a huge amount of strength and concentration. Could this be my chance? But I was tiring fast. This is one of the toughest things I've ever done in my life. With the end in sight, there was nothing between us. I mustered my last ounce of energy for the last few holds. Could I beat the pro? I can see the top. Woo! No! Stop!
Sorry.
Natalie had won by inches and I was gutted.
Frightening.
So
close.
You almost beat her.
You know, it was so frustrating because I looked across and I could see that she was there and I could see the top. You know, I thought, I'm going to do it.
You missed your vocation. You could have been a climber.
I don't know about that. She was incredible, you know. She's so balletic, the way that she moves, so strong, like a little Spider-Woman, the way she climbs.
You were quite Spider-esque as well.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. Just not quite good enough. These were a big help, but they weren't enough, so we're now 1-0 down. However, we still have 3 more opportunities, and boys, 3-1 sounds like a good scoreline to me.
Yeah, it sounds pretty definitive to me. So, boys, are we up for this?
Yes!
Yes.
Big man hug, yeah? Coming in for the real thing? All right, just me and John, OK?
We'll have our own over.
Yeah, let's...
Thank you, John.
Still to come in our Pro-Am Challenge special.
Can John use the very latest in consumer camera technology to produce a better set of pictures than one of Britain's top photographers?
Wow, that looks fantastic.
Can I really drive around Silverstone faster than one of the world's fastest racing drivers, Johnny Herbert?
And can Otis really beat a top professional cyclist in a gruelling uphill race?
Legs are really starting to burn now.
Find out in a couple of minutes.
Welcome back to the Gadget Show presenters versus talented professionals special.
Yeah, this week we've each got our own individual challenge in which we've got to use tech and gadgets to try and beat the professionals at their own game.
Susie was first up. She went up against the UK's top rock climber, and she lost.
Yeah, I did lose, but technically it was just by a few inches.
Yeah. OK, Susie, it was by a few technical inches, but you lost all the same, so... It's down to the boys.
And first up, it's me.
Go on, John.
Now, although photography is a very big hobby of mine, I'd never claim to be anything more than just an enthusiastic amateur.
Stop it!
Come on!
You man!
Great!
But for this challenge, I was up against somebody who's so good that they actually make a very decent living out of their snaps.
Go on, the baby!
Yeah. Ninja on that camera, Johnny boy.
This is James Nadir, an acclaimed professional photographer who's made a successful career out of producing top-class photos. So you could say I had a pretty good reason to be apprehensive going into our challenge.
James! I must admit, I'm feeling awfully nervous about today.
No need to feel nervous about today. Just relax, give it a go.
I mean, can an amateur like me ever hope to compete against all your professional experience?
With the right tech, there's always a chance.
So, what would our challenge entail?
John and James, today you must produce 3 different killer photos. An action shot, a landscape shot, and a water shot. The winner will be the person who produces the most dynamic photo, as judged by a top art critic. But before rushing off, meet Amy and Megan. Ooh, hello.
Hello.
Amy and Megan are identical twins whom we had to incorporate into our 3 photos. Amy would be spending the day with James, while Megan would be with me. And without further ado, we headed off to find our respective action shots. And having found an interesting and colourful backdrop, James was first to get snapping.
The aim of the game today is to be really dynamic, get some really good shots. We're going to use this muted blue background here of the hotel, and we're going to get Amy to jump out in front of the flash, and then we'll use the light to freeze it and make it look really nice and natural against that beautiful blue background.
To capture his magic, James had brought along his trusty 12.1 megapixel Nikon D3 digital SLR. And a portable 500-watt flash lamp, triggered by a radio transmitter fitted to the camera.
And again, what I'm doing here is I'm using the flashlight to illuminate Amy, which will then in turn underexpose the background, which will make it go darker and more contrasty and more stylish and create that dynamic look that we're looking for today.
And after just a few jumps, James's professional eye was convinced he had a prize-winning snap.
Wow, that looks fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that. It's strong, contrasty, got a good style to the picture. I'm happy with that.
To get my dynamic action shot, I called upon the Casio Exilim FH20, which can shoot an astonishing 40 high-resolution 7-megapixel images per second. To give it a thorough test, I asked Megan to shake her head as if she was in a shampoo advert.
You need plenty of light for these shots, but shooting them is an absolute breeze. You just press the shutter. I wish for Megan's sake the hair shaking was as easy as the photo taking. Have a look.
Oh, wow, that works well.
I've got 40 frames here, and they chart Megan's movements wonderfully. You know what? I'm going to keep them all. Nobody said you couldn't have a moving shot.
So we both had our action shots, but now it was on to the landscape. James and Amy had moved to a local park where James had found a tree-lined fountain to use as the backdrop.
That's good. For me, the key to a good landscape is having a great background, a good mid-ground, and point of interest in the foreground.
After a quick play with different angles, props and poses, James finally settled on his dynamic shot.
More or less looking at the flat. Yeah, I think that will work better.
With Amy lit strongly from the front, James had cleverly created a striking contrast between the foreground, mid-ground and distant greenery. In search of our dynamic landscape shot, I positioned Megan in a delightful garden in front of an aviary and pulled out the Fuji Real 3D W1, a digital 3D stills camera. Effectively, two 10-megapixel cameras working together.
These lenses capture two simultaneous images, and the camera then combines them to produce a 3D or stereoscopic image in exactly the same way that your eyes do. Excellent.
While we can't properly show the 3D images right now, because TV is of course 2D, the Fuji's 2.8-inch screen does actually let you view them in full 3D glory. And it wasn't hard to get excited about the results.
Actually, that's great, isn't it? I mean, all the foliage is leaping out around you, the dome's billowing up behind. I mean, it's practically poetic.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic with all the depth and symmetry. It's great.
So, James and I had bagged 2 out of our 3 snaps, but we still have the water shot to go. And I had just the camera for the job. This is the Panasonic Ft-1. It looks like any normal compact digital camera, but it's got a very special talent. Thanks to extra rubber sealing and a tough layer of glass over the lens, the 12.1 megapixel Ft-1 is waterproof to a depth of 3 meters. So, in the name of dynamism, I slipped into my trunks and snorkel for a pleasant swim with Megan.
I'm quite sure that I've got quite the hang of this apparatus, though.
No, I don't think you have.
No.
Thankfully, the Panasonic was a lot simpler to use than the snorkel, and I was able to capture some stills I was really rather pleased with.
Well, I think this is going really well. I mean, it's really quite spectacular. Shall we try some more?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
The 4.6 times optical zoom helpfully incorporates a wide angle, so I could get close to my subject. And in spite of some irritating focusing delays, I was happy I had some really dynamic images. And with that, it was James's turn to get creative.
Chin down a little bit. That's it, cool.
After various test poses and some interesting snaps through the water, James had decided on his shot.
Amy, what I'd like you to do now is to go underwater, get your hair wet, and let's come out and let's try a couple of shots of you just jumping up out of the water. And again.
And to give it a different style, he switched to shooting in black and white, which gave him some immediate success. But our challenge wasn't over. Our finished photos still needed to be judged by celebrated art critic Valdemar Januszak, who was going to select the most dynamic image as the winner.
Well, they're very varied, aren't they? I mean, that's the first thing to say about them.
Valdemar didn't know who'd taken which photographs, so I'd everything to play for, and his eye was drawn straight to my 3D image.
What can I say? This is an unexpected thing to find here. I've not seen anything like that before, but I like it.
Right.
I like it. It's certainly dynamic. That is much slicker.
Yes.
Now, if one had to hazard a guess, I would say that was a work of James.
Professional. Yeah.
Professional. I actually like this, although I don't think it's a good. I don't think it's a good picture.
Yeah.
But I just like the idea. That's a
Yes.
dynamic modern art idea. You know, black and white never fails, does it? I mean, it's a beautifully done thing, and as an actual photograph, as a piece of craftsmanship, I think that's a superior piece of work. To me, that has a pleasingly amateur air to it. You know, that's what you get in a lot of contemporary art. But this, well, I think that's probably the weakest of them all. There's a kind of professional air to it. A sort of lack of originality, perhaps. Is that being too rude?
Having looked at all the pictures, it wasn't clear which one Valdemar was going to go for.
I'm torn, you know. I feel different parts of me are being pleasured by different photographs here.
But he had to make a decision.
That's the best photograph. The lighting's superb, the moment of the water on the body, very impressive, super slick.
Oh, God, it was really close again, wasn't it?
Really, really impressive. You know what I think was a particularly clever strategy is that you use some of the more kooky features that consumer tech has to offer, like this vivid 3D image, which you can't really see at home, but it's great, isn't it? And this is my favourite picture of all of them.
It's beautiful,
40
isn't it?
frames a second.
Yeah, what a great feature and what a really good way to use it.
Well, you had super subjects. The girls were amazing. How beautiful is that picture? Actually, how many men are watching this show now thinking, I would love to have this picture on my wall?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I thought you would be.
Yeah.
And this picture, John, that's my favourite.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to have this picture on my wall as well. However, it was a loss. We are now 2-0 down.
Yes, we are.
That stings, doesn't it?
Yes.
Look, just to kind of forget about that and move on to something, just to divert the attention from the 2-0. I've got another consumer tech camera that I think, John, you'll particularly like. It's a night vision camera. You take it. Susie, you just do the thing with the lights, if you can.
OK.
Can I just see what they're actually up to here?
Can I just say, I like this item, it's good.
Susie, that...
Oh,
it's called the night vision digital camera. Now, it'll take stills and video, actually, in standard light, but it'll also do it in pitch blackness. It comes with an SD card. I think it's 32 meg as standard, but you can boost up to 2 gig.
I'm in video.
Which they reckon will give you 75 minutes worth of video and a bunch of stills.
The actual quality of the pictures doesn't look great.
It's quite low resolution. I think it's about 1.3 megapixels, which is not a lot. But when you consider that you're shooting in pitch blackness using infrared, it's still pretty impressive, isn't it? Hang on, I'm being grabbed by someone.
Seems to have quite good range, doesn't it?
Otis, is that your trainer?
No.
Sorry.
What is that?
Right, time for another short break now, but after that...
It's Otis's turn to face his challenges. He goes head-to-head against one of Britain's top pro cyclists.
I'm keeping up with the boy here.
And then I go head-to-head with F1 legend Johnny Herbert around the track at Silverstone.
Come on, come on!
Can the Gadget Show's young bucks pull it back? Stay tuned, because you have to see this.
Welcome back. Now, normally on the Gadget Show, with our challenges, it's us versus each other. But this week, we're doing things very differently because we've each got our own personal Gadget challenge.
Yes, this week we're each going head-to-head with a professional to try and beat them in their own field using tech and gadgets as our advantage.
Although it has to be said, it's not going too well. Both Susie and John have marginally completely failed their challenges.
That's quite rude. So now we are trying to break the duck because, as Otis so very kindly said, we are 2-0 down to the pros. Next up is the man himself, the very confident, the very fit, and the not too shabby Mr. Otis Dealey.
Otis, you've got to nail this, boyfriend.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
To begin my challenge, I'd been told to wait outside Gadget HQ to receive my instructions. Otis, your challenge is to take on and beat a professional road race cyclist on a hill climb course and become Gadget King of the Mountains. You have 1 week to choose your technology to help you win. Good luck. Well, I'm no king of the mountains, but it doesn't say I have to choose a bike. So first I wondered whether one of the personal transport gadgets I'd already tried on the show could do the job. OK, well, the hovercraft would definitely turn a few heads, but it's not really meant for mountains. I love the Anycycle, but a steep gradient and I'd be eating tarmac. Now, that jet bike that Jason tried would certainly be fast enough, but there'd be a fair chance I'd end up off the road. Fire-breathing robot dog? Maybe not. Professional cyclists are capable of cycling uphill at speeds of 14 miles an hour, so to stand a chance of winning, I needed to combine my human power with some electric power. And after a few calls, I found just the thing. It was a bike, after all, but with a sneaky difference. Electric bike specialist Cytronics agreed to put together a special new electric road racer just for me. They'd added their electric power assistance to a top-of-the-range carbon fibre Cannondale Super 6, and at just 12.9 kilos, I reckoned it was the world's lightest electric road bike. The Cytronics system is designed to provide ultra-lightweight and discreet assistance to cycling. This water bottle here is in fact a 2-kilogram battery that powers a motor on the front wheel. It can give you 180 watts of extra power when you need it. So for instance, if I'm cycling into a headwind or up an incline like this one, I just press the boost button and it really does make all the difference. The assistance can be used up to the legal limit of 15 miles per hour, and I was definitely going to need the help as up ahead lay my hill climb challenge. We'd had the road specially closed on one of the most grueling climbs on the UK cycling circuit, Holm Moss in Derbyshire. With gradients up to 15% over its tortuous 2-mile ascent, it's definitely not for the faint-hearted. And if that weren't enough, I'd have to race against pro cyclist Russell Fonzie Downing. He's a sprint specialist, a former British road race champion, and he recently won the 2009 Tour of Ireland. Russell, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good to meet you. This stretch that we're about to do, that I'm gonna, whoop you on, have you ever done anything like this before?
I've never been whooped on this, but yeah, it's quite a tough hill and most of the big tours come over here.
So for someone like me who normally rides on flats and at a really leisurely pace, how tough is it going to be?
It's going to be hard, and you're going to struggle.
To see just how tough, I took off my electric assistant and first tried a short race man-to-man. Okay, there! I'm keeping up with the boy here. It's all good. Is that all you got? Russ, hey? Come on, let's have it! Hey, me against the pro! No! I was getting excited, but it turned out Russell was just toying with me. Weighing in at just 65 kilos on an ultralight bike, Russell's power-to-weight ratio is awesome. I'm no slouch, but I was left floundering. He's gone! Completely torn me in two. I'll see you in 5 minutes! So, on my own, I clearly wouldn't stand a chance, but after some time to recover, and of course with my extra electric power, would I have enough to match the pro over the full 2-mile ascent? It was time to find out.
3, 2, 1, go!
We both blasted off the line, and almost immediately the incline began, which meant I could turn on my little friend, the boost button. Me and my electric bike had started impressively, and with a range of 20 miles, I wasn't going to run out of juice. I just had to keep pedaling. Legs are really starting to burn now.
It's not easy.
No, it isn't, and I'm being assisted. The severe gradient really was an extreme test for the Citronic system, and I'd been advised to keep my speed above 10 miles an hour to get maximum benefit from it. Pros like Russell are capable of outputting 4 times the power of an average cyclist, so I couldn't afford to let my speed drop. And approaching halfway, incredibly, I was staying up with Russell. Been maintaining an average of around 11 miles per hour, which for me is unheard of. Never in my wildest dreams would I have ever hoped to be even this close to a pro. I mean, he's working infinitely harder than I am, but the Citronex is eating up a lot of that advantage. But then we hit the killer final section, and Russell made his move. My legs just weren't up to the challenge. Trying my hardest now to give Russell a race, but I just haven't got anything left. Ugh. Oh, that hurt. Big incline. Keeping up that speed just got tougher and tougher. Heading into the final corner, I gave it one last push, but it was too late. Oh, man. Victory to the boy. Oh.
Oh, nearly. At the midpoint, you were right there. You were so close.
I tell you what, the tech actually works. However, you have to put in a certain level of energy before it gives back to you. So it really did become an endurance race.
But you did endure, because right at the end, you were only meters away from him, dude.
Thanks very much. I've got to say, though, Russell Downing, what a talent.
Yeah.
Bags of energy.
Yeah, completely. But you know what that means, don't you? Because he beat you, because John lost and because I lost, we are 3-0 down to the professionals. So it's down to you to save Gadget face later on in the show. But before we have a look at that, come and have a look at this. Right, this is the Real Rider. It's an exercise bike with a difference. Jump on, Otis, and you'll see straight away what the difference is. Because there you go. This is trying to emulate a road bike, so it will tilt and lean like a road bike up to 20 degrees. Wow. Now, the great thing about this is you're getting a really good workout, so 5 in 1. So your upper body, your core strength, which you can probably feel already,
yes, I can,
yep. OK, your legs, of course, your cardio is going to kick in, and your balance as well.
Feels like a real workout, yeah? Yeah. It's good, I love it.
Now it's time for this week's competition. And this week, we were asked to donate tech and gadgets from our challenges that were part of tonight's show.
And with these 3 ultra-competitive types around, not surprisingly, it's become a sort of game of gadget prize one-upmanship, with each of them vying with each other to come up with the best prizes to put into the fund.
Also, let me go first, because I'm really excited about this. I am donating to the fund this Real Rider exercise bike that we've just been talking about. Also, I am out of breath. This Citroën Cannondale bike that you saw me use in my challenge. But if you don't want to work out indoors or on the road, how about off-road?
Breathe.
A Marin mountain bike also. Peace.
Oh, that's a nice prize.
Thanks very much, thank you.
John, what you got?
Well, I'm going to put in the 3 cameras that I used to take my photos, plus the professional standard Nikon D3 that James used, and his lighting kit.
Nice. Well, you know, on this week's show, I did a climbing challenge, so I'm going to throw in a day's climbing tuition.
Nice. Way to enter into the spirit of the competition, Susie.
Yeah. Hang on, because the day's climbing tuition is in the Swiss ski resort of Saas-Fee, where the winner will go for a week's holiday with 2 friends, flights included, and if you're not into heights, like a certain Gadget show presenter on my left-hand side, I'm throwing in ski passes and ski hire for the entire week. Oh, yeah. All right? Good enough for you?
Very good.
JCB.
I'm never going to be able to beat that. Or will I? Because, check it out, I'm throwing in the Vision Master gaming chair, which you're going to see me driving in today's challenge in a few minutes' time, plus just about every console you could need, an Xbox 360, a PS3, a Wii, and just about all the racing games that we can lay our hands on. Plus, I'm going to organise a Formula 1 track day for you in which you'll get to drive an actual Formula 1 racing car.
And on top of all of those things, 40, yes, 40 more gadgets. Ready? Here comes the list.
So, as well as all the prizes we've just told you about, you could also win a 50-inch plasma TV, a 32-inch LCD TV, a high-def Blu-ray player and 10 Blu-ray movies, and a MacBook laptop.
A Canon PIXMA printer, an iPod Touch, a pair of high-end ASICS trainers, a Sony reader, and a Rovio mobile webcam.
A Blur power kite and a Dyson ball vacuum, an Altec Lansing Orbit travel speaker, a Sony D100 digital picture frame, an Aladdin Challenger flask,
A Cobb barbecue, a Wolf-Eye shark torch, an Apple TV, a Philips juicer, and a bulletproof USB memory stick.
and an Oral-B electric toothbrush, a pair of Skullcandy headphones and a flat light, a copy of FX Home special effects software, a Berghaus rucksack and a Magimix food processor.
A Yogi Gatekeeper Pico, a Flip Video Ultra, and a Griffin Bluetooth headset, a pocket surfer, a Swap Watch, plus 4 tickets to Gadget Show Live at the NEC in Birmingham next Easter, and a limo to take you all the way from your front door to the show and back again.
It's a prize fund worth a whopping 22.5 grand. And to win with a chance of winning the lot, you'll need to know the answer to this question.
Which cyclist has won the Tour de France a record 7 times? A. Bradley Wiggins, B. Lance Armstrong, or C. Chris Boardman?
To enter, call 0904 1616 555 or text A, B or C to 63555. Or send your answer, name and contact telephone number on the back of a postcard or sealed envelope to Gadget Show 16, PO Box 46556, London N1 0WW. Calls cost £1.50 from a BT landline. Calls from other networks may vary and from mobiles will cost considerably more. Text costs £1.50 plus 1 message at standard network rate. For rules, go to 5.tv/win. Lines close at midday on Monday the 23rd of November and 2 days later for postal entries. Of course, we'll show the question again at the end of the show. Good luck.
Time for the last break in the show now, but after that...
I face my challenge and it's a beauty. In the same car, on the same circuit, can I beat F1 legend Johnny Herbert on a lap around Silverstone?
Nail it! Go, go, go!
Him in the real world and me in the virtual one.
Trust me, it's an amazing climax and not to be missed by any Gadget fan anywhere.
Welcome back. Now, you've probably realised that on this week's show, we're all facing individual challenges and we're using tech against the professionals to beat them at their own game.
Yes, we start with Susie against a British champion rock climber.
Which I lost.
Yeah.
Then John went up against a professional photographer to see who could take the best photo.
And I'm afraid I lost that too.
Yeah, so 2-0 down to the professionals.
Ah, but there was Otis.
Yes.
Yeah, against a professional cyclist. You were on that electrically assisted road racing bike, and you lost.
Yeah.
You lost that as well.
Yeah.
3-0 down, yeah.
So basically, it's now down to me.
Yeah, no pressure.
This is ex-Formula 1 and Le Mans star Johnny Herbert, one of the world's fastest racing drivers. This is the Porsche GT2, one of the world's fastest supercars. And this is the Grand Prix circuit at Silverstone, one of the world's fastest tracks.
Quite a combination, which somehow I've got to beat, because in a few minutes' time, Johnny is going to strap himself behind the wheel of that car, take it to the start line, and floor it at exactly the same time. I'm going to sit in exactly the same car, on exactly the same track, and put my hammer down. The only difference is my car and my track are simulated.
And these simulations are becoming more and more realistic because so much effort now goes into their design. While making Need for Speed Shift, a car was actually written off in the name of research. And for Gran Turismo 4, they analysed the driving characteristics of over 500 cars. The latest cutting-edge driving game to hit the market is Forza 3, which took a team of 300 people over 2 years to develop and involved the help of professional racing drivers to ensure every aspect of the real car is reflected in the game. So, the Porsche GT2 I'll be driving is going to be as tricky as the real thing. And to add to the pressure, I've got just one lap and one chance to get to the finish line first. That boils down to 3.2 miles, 14 corners, and if it all goes to plan, around 2 minutes of my life.
I consider myself a pretty mean gamer, but I've got to be honest with you, I think the odds are stacked against me for this challenge. I mean, that's Johnny Herbert out there, and he's driving a serious car, a £130,000 Porsche that can kick out 530 brake horsepower. So, to stand any chance of competing in this challenge, I've had to bring the ultimate gaming rig to the party.
I've networked together 3 Xboxes, meaning I can run 3 screens simultaneously, extracting every ounce of graphical and audible information Forza 3 is capable of giving me. This is particularly crucial in a sprint race of this type, when one error almost certainly means disaster.
Sound is also important, and I've gone for a digital 5.1 surround sound setup. Just check out my throaty engine snarl. Woo-hoo-hoo! You'll note I'm sitting on the Vision Racer chair and framework, which I think is one of the best on the market. It looks the business. And the wheel I've gone for, it's the Fanatec Porsche-style steering wheel and pedals. It's really well made, and will certainly stand up to just about anything most gamers can throw at it.
I was happy with my equipment. Now all I had to do was set up my Porsche for optimum handling around the Silverstone circuit. Down on the track, Johnny was doing the same by changing the settings of the car's stability and traction control systems. As he set off on his warm-up, I was bricking it.
I'm really genuinely nervous. My hands are feeling a little bit tingly.
Down on the track, Johnny was getting a feel for the car and looking pretty confident.
Always tricky through here, throws you around a bit.
We've seen Johnny Herbert do his warm-up lap, yeah? And trust me, he wasn't taking any prisoners. There is only one mode that racing drivers understand, and it's win mode.
With everything in place, it was race time.
This is your 15-second warning.
15 seconds? Oh, my God!
Tension was high, adrenaline was pumping.
Come on, let's get this done. Let's go, baby, come on!
Come on, baby. Easy over that curb.
I was off to a great start, and by the second corner, had eked out a small lead over Johnny.
Third gear, not too quick now. Don't come off the track, man.
75, accelerating.
Ready? Little brake as it gets it rocking around.
I was doing well, but then came my first mistake.
Right, OK, I messed the chicane up, right? But I can pull this back. Come on, come on!
Johnny had taken the lead, but he was also struggling.
Still in third, fighting it.
In fact, both cars were exhibiting the same tail-happy handling characteristics, showing just how close the game was to the real thing.
Nail it, come on!
Down hanger straight into 5th. Braking at just over 150.
5th gear, I'm not too bad because I got to 5th before this big right-hander. Okay, down, slow it down, dude.
Down to 4th. 3rd, a bit twitchy as we go in.
Don't lose focus.
Trying to get to the curve, letting it drift out as we get on the throttle towards Val.
I was driving on the absolute limit, and a few good corners had put me back in the running.
Nail it, go! Turbo! Rocket boosters, man!
But my worst corner was coming up, and I knew that one more mistake would be curtains.
You're a bad corner, you know it, I know it, yeah? But I just nailed you, so who cares?
145 down, 3rd, 2nd, into Abbey, using the curb heel.
Oh, I'm so nervous, I just forgot where the track was.
Over the curb, accelerating towards bridge, 100 miles an hour.
90 round the corner, brake now.
Braking, very tricky, 2nd gear, 50 miles an hour.
Brake, throw an anchor out. Someone just hold a parachute behind me. Yes, nailed that bad boy.
I was into the final part of the lap. I'd been driving for just 2 minutes.
Keep the revs up, dude.
But when you've got Johnny Herbert breathing down your neck, that seems like a lifetime.
Slow right down. This is a really difficult corner. Okay, last corner coming up now. I never get this right.
Into the last corner. Get the back out a little bit.
Go. Come on! Quicker! This car's not quick enough for me. Felix, did I win? Where is he? There he is. Yes! The geeks won! We did it!
I'd won by just 3 seconds.
Oh, yes!
But Johnny had no idea of the result, so I ran down to meet him to give him the news.
Oh, yeah! Johnny!
No.
Yes!
I can see by the response.
You can see by the way I'm going like this. I beat you, my man.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
A few seconds, but it's a few seconds that will remain golden for the rest of my life. It was incredible.
That was really hairy for me out there.
I did actually get the back end out quite a couple of times on those corners.
I couldn't stop the back end.
Really?
This was awesome and loose.
Isn't it crazy that we're talking about this? I've never even set foot on the track. Isn't it mad?
That makes me feel even worse.
I know, no, not at all. Look, I really enjoyed it, and you've made one geek incredibly happy, and a lot of geeks out there, I think, watching, gamers who love thehave driving games would have, really enjoyed that experience. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you very much, Johnny.
All right.
Yay!
Well done.
I'm proud to have brought one back for Team Gadget.
Yes.
But you know what? Just the gaming experience of going up against Johnny Herbert was incredible.
And he is a fantastic driver, Johnny Herbert.
Isn't
so
he?
well
He knows
done.
his stuff, and he was really going for it. He was taking it very seriously. In fact, I thought I'd lost it. Do you know what? But I didn't see him. I thought he'd gone past. But look, one of you jumped in here.
That'll be me, Stan back,
Give it a
Mr.
try.
Bentley. Thank you very much.
Give it a go.
I tell you what, Jason, you're incredibly fortunate to have had the opportunity to use a setup like this.
It's great. It's really good.
It's brilliant.
Before this gets messy and everybody jumps on Otis to try and have a go, let's say, hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Get out, come on.
Do a lap first, please.
Yes, please. Next time on The Gadget Show, it's all about getting around Gadget style.
Otis travels to Dubai to test drive the awesome Sandex.
That's the back swinging out a little bit there.
I travel to Switzerland to drive a car on water.
And talking of awesome, I build the most awesome gadget anyone has ever built. Wait for it, a jet-powered hoverboard. It's real, it's incredible, and it's on next week's show. Come on now, spoiler up, baby. That's all next week. But right now, before the credits roll, remember to enter this week's incredible competition. As well as all the tech you see flying across your screen right now, we're also giving away a week's skiing holiday for 3 in Saas-Fee in Switzerland, complete with a day's climbing tuition for the winner, a collection of cameras and photographic equipment, 3 bikes, a Vision Racer gaming chair, consoles and games, and an F1 track day, where you'll be able to drive a Formula 1 racing car. Added to all that, we'll throw in 4 tickets for Gadget Show Live, plus a limo to take you to the show and back home again afterwards. It's an incredible prize fund worth £22,500. And to be with the chance of winning it all, you'll need to know the answer to this question.
Which cyclist has won the Tour de France a record 7 times? A. Bradley Wiggins, B. Lance Armstrong, or C. Chris Boardman?
To enter, call 0904 1616 555 or text A, B or C to 63555 or send your answer, name and contact telephone number on the back of a postcard or sealed envelope to Gadget Show 16, PO Box 46556, London N10WW. Calls cost £1.50 from a BT landline. Calls from other networks may vary and from mobiles will cost considerably more. Text costs £1.50 plus one message at standard network rate. For rules, go to 5.tv/win. Lines close at midday on Monday, the 23rd of November, and 2 days later for postal votes. Goodbye and good luck.